The first step to extending my foot box was to kind of pick the logical place to slice and add an extension. So I picked two spots. Both were at corners or bends in the aluminum, which made both the cutting easier and making of the little parts there that extend that to cover that gap made that part a little easier. I didn't film slicing these. I used an angle grinder. It was ugly business. Probably better you didn't see me doing that. So the next step is to make some paper templates to mock up these two parts and start cutting, and then move on to the riveting. Well, in the process of making all the little parts for my extended footwell on the driver's side, I'm kind of using this approach, nothing new here, but making little paper parts here that I'll flatten out, cut on my aluminum, and rivet in place. It's been a bit of a challenge doing this after the foot box is already installed, but I guess I really wouldn't know how far I could have extended my foot box until the motor was installed, which you kind of have to put that inside footwell together before the motor gets installed. So it's just the way things stacked up. Kind of hard to get the rivet gun in there and the drill in there to drill the holes, but so far so good. So I'm going to continue on with this, making these little paper forms. I kind of stick them in place in the car and make little adjustments here and there. But next step is to flatten this out, lay it on top of my aluminum, and make the bends. And kind of down to the dregs of what's left of my Factory 5 aluminum. I've got some more stuff coming in because I still have to make a fan shroud. But yeah, here's where we are now. So I'll continue on. So I took some advice that I got from the forum and a comment on one of my videos that I really should take a look at expanding the footbox on the driver's side. And actually I hadn't really even considered it. But I decided to spend a little time sitting in the driver's seat. I did not make any motor sounds. I was tempted. But I sat there and moved my foot around the pedals and realized that, you know, my size 12 triple E foot doesn't really fit that well. It's fine on the driver's side or on the clutch part, at least it seems to be, but on the accelerated pedal, where I'd normally kind of rest your foot, you know how you kind of pivot your foot on and off the pedal as you're cruising along, there really wasn't a good way to do that with the current setup. So I took the advice and I ended up expanding the Footwell a bit right there, which is good timings before I put the interior in and had the motor in so I could see how much space I had to work with. The downside is that the panel is, you know, everything's bolted in, so you're working in kind of a tight confine, you know, tight confines there. But I came up with I think a pretty quick solution. And actually, I think all said and done, it was probably only maybe a 2-hour project. So I'll show you what I did. It's not my finest work because of the tight space to get in there and space rivets and make some cuts, but came out good. It's very strong and it is infinitely more comfortable. I spent some time sitting there and yeah, the extra about 2¼ inches there for my right foot made all the difference in the world. So here's what I did. I don't know if the lighting is going to cooperate, but like I said, not my finest work in terms of cosmetics, but you can see I gained an extra 2 inches about here. Normally the panel from this point goes straight to here. And so all I did basically was I'll show you on this side, it might be easier. So all I did really was cut along the crease that was existing here and kind of use that as a guide for the cut, and then cut a vertical slice down that way. I'm not doing this justice, but basically allowed me just to kind of take this panel and fold it out. And then all I had to do really was make this connector piece here using some paper templates, and then made a connector piece down there. A little bit of silicone, some rivets, and here I have it. Here, I still have to clean it up. I still have some of my my marks there from doing the layout. But this is the little paper template that I made. So basically, you know, here's the kind of side profile of it. I don't know if that's showing up very well, but this is the piece right there. Really pretty simple, but man, big gain for not a lot of work. Yeah, pretty happy with this one. Another little thing to cross off my list. So I can imagine on a nice warm summer morning, my wife and I jumping in the car and driving up the coast of Maine, and you know, the idea of not having a place to put our coffee doesn't really make sense. You know, certainly considering my wife's propensity for spilling coffee. So cup holders were a must, and what you'll see here is me kind of locating those in here. I first started with a cup holder I knew that would fit our favorite travel mugs, and kind of went from there. Really the most critical dimension in terms of the layout here is where the handles bolt through the transmission cover down into the frame. So the holes I reference in this piece of cardboard actually all kind of center around those handle mounting positions. Plenty of space, everything worked out nicely. A great addition to the car, and something that I'm certainly sure we're going to use pretty often. It'll also be a nice place to kind of drop my phone in on some of those rides as well. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. Coming up next, you'll see, I guess in my next video, you'll see a custom adjustable seat bracket and the installation of seat heaters. All of this is, of course, in prep for getting ready to dive headfirst into the body work, which is looming, which is close. So, hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.